Good evening, everyone. Just as quickly as this mysterious songbird sickness came, it is starting to disappear again. And actually, Cornell University has come out with a hypothesis of why they think it actually started in the first place. How's it going, everyone? I did not have a video planned for tonight. I actually have a video planned for Friday. So I was gonna talk about the songbird sickness on Friday, but I figured it actually needed its own episode. So a little bit of information, a little bit of good news actually came out about this sickness. So let's start with, but just backtrack a little bit to talk about what the sickness actually was. Just so if anybody is watching that didn't know exactly what I'm talking about. So the earlier in the spring, usually it was around like late May, early June, songbirds started to get this sickness where their eyes started to get crusty. They started to get tremors, started having paralysis, and it was only happening in a few states. It was happening in Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, and I think, it was happening in DC as well. So they were only affecting young birds, juveniles, and there was only about 12 species that it was affecting, including in those species was like blue jays, cardinals, finches, sparrows, wrens, the songbirds, the red-bellied woodpeckers. So what was happening is that they were actually getting all crusty-eyed, tremors, and ultimately they would die. So it was a pretty scary situation that was happening. They still don't officially know what caused it and what happened, whether it was a virus or if it was a bacteria, but we did get some good news that the cases have drastically decreased, and they've actually seen the mortality rates go down drastically as well. So, like I said, they still don't know exactly what happened, but they do have an idea. So Cornell Wildlife Lab actually came out with a hypothesis regarding the disease, and they think it was because the emerging of the cicadas. Okay, that was probably a little bit too dark. But yeah, so the cicadas emerged this year, the brood X actually. So cicadas are found throughout the U.S. and many parts of the world, but they stay below ground for most of their life, and they only come out during the last 4 to 6 weeks of their life. They can range in size from like 1 inch to 3 inches long. They're usually black and brown or green. They have red or white blue eyes. So according to the University of Michigan's museum, here we go, pull this up real quick. Like I said, they spend most of their lives underground, and as larvae, they usually suck the liquids out of plant roots, and they live underground, like I said, for most of their life. And when they do come out, they come out strictly just to mate. So there's only a 2 to 6 week period when they come out from underground to mate. But there is this brood called brood X that only emerges once every 17 years. And they actually emerged this year. So I have this little video too. So brood X emerged this year, and they arrived around mid-May in 11 states. The states include Delaware, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, West Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, and Washington, D.C. So about a week after the cicadas came out, birds in those states started showing these unusual symptoms like I said, about a week or two later. So there is actually a direct correlation between the songbird illness with the arrival of the cicadas. They don't know how the cicadas could be harming the birds, but there's a few different things that they're thinking about. So they're thinking that maybe the birds are ingesting the cicadas and that they could be giving off a kind of like a toxic effect to the birds. It's also possible that those states are spraying for the cicadas, to try to get rid of the bugs, and the chemicals that they're using to actually get rid of the cicadas could be harming the songbirds. Also, there was a fact that cicadas carry a fungus that produces a toxin when ingested, which could also have produced the illness in the birds. So the decline in the cases corresponds with the retreat of the cicadas, because it's already been about 4 to 6 weeks since they came out. So around this time, maybe even one more week, the cicadas should all be gone. So researchers are still going to be monitoring it, but they think that it's a direct correlation, so there's nothing to be alarmed. There is still no safety threats to humans or any of domestic livestock, including poultry. And as of July 14th, the Massachusetts Wildlife said that there has been no definitive cases of the illness or death in Massachusetts. So that's good news. They still ask you to maybe keep your bird feeders in for a little bit longer until the cicadas are gone. Then that way they can make sure that it's actually that was the problem and that's not something else. But if you do have to feed your birds, they still recommend a 10% bleach solution. And avoid handling any dead or injured wild birds. Wear disposable gloves, obviously, and keep your pets away from sick or dead birds. And make sure that you send the information to the Mass Wildlife as well. They are still taking reports from people just in case. But as of right now, it still hasn't come up to mass. It doesn't look like it's going to come up to mass if it is because of the cicadas, because Brood X has not come up this way. So as of right now, we're still looking good, guys. Birds seem to be safe, but make sure you just continue to keep an eye out. I don't think I have. Oh, and then I have the Cornell University. They are not overly alarmed still about the mysterious songbird sickness. So like I said, they think that it's a direct correlation with the cicadas. Birds should be okay. And another thing is they said that it doesn't pose a threat to the stability of the songbirds as well. So a lot of people are asking me, with the amount of birds that were dying, is that going to pose a threat to their species? And Cornell came out and said no, that right now it did not threaten the stability of any songbird species. So that's good news as well. Just wanted to give that little quick update for you guys. Thank you as always. I will see you on Friday. I have Instinct coming on. We're going to talk about their new food, and we have a couple of good giveaways on Friday as well. So if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm here pretty much all the time. Send me an email, send me a message. Make sure you like this video for me. That way it gets spread out a little bit faster to people so they can actually see it, and people can start feeling better about feeding their pets, their wild bird pets. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.